last forever.
Alright, so this has been a week for movie trailers. We're starting to see the lineup of our blockbuster movies for next summer. It's already looking pretty spicy. Over the next couple days, we'll be breaking down these movies and what to expect. Marvel just dropped the official teaser for Black Widow with a release date of May 1st, 2020. This makes for the 24th film of the MCU, and the first film of Phase 4. This is the next movie after Far From Home, ending a considerably long break in Marvel movie releases. It appears that it'll take place between Civil War and Infinity War, and I genuinely can't remember what was going on in the timeline at that point. There have been a lot of movies in Civil War. It's starring Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, even though it's felt like she's been in a lot of movies recently between this, Marriage Story, and Jojo Rabbit. It's also co-starring Florence Pugh, I hope I'm saying that right, and David Harbour. I genuinely like David Harbour. He was good in Stranger Things, but he's been in a couple forgettable movies lately. Hopefully he makes the most of his role as Red Guardian. Let's take a quick second to look at all the things that work in the trailer for me. First off, the music is cool as frick. It reminds me a bit of Sicario, which had a great score and sound design. I hope that this is the case with Black Widow, because a lot of these Marvel movies recently have had lackluster scores. Costume design looks great between Nat's white suit and Red Guardian's costume so far. Taskmaster also looks pretty dope, but Marvel genuinely is yet to disappoint with costume and production design. I already like the fight choreography we see between Black Widow and her sister. I'm banking on the rest of the scenes living up to that. Every Black Widow fight scene this far in the MCU has been well directed and fun to watch, and I'm hoping this movie won't be an exception. Taskmaster can be a pretty cool villain as well. We've been kind of spoiled lately with good villains like Thanos and Mysterio, so it's easy to forget the bad ones like what's his name from Thor 2. If the focus isn't just him being a cool, scary bad guy and we dive into his character a little bit, I have faith that we could have a great movie villain. I'll chalk up the return of Thunderbolt Ross as a soft win. There's some interesting plot implications with him in the movie that I'll talk about later, but part of me also isn't a huge fan of these direct anchors to the cinematic universe. I don't think it'll be as egregious as Falcon's scene in Ant-Man, but it might be pretty easy for General Ross to be a pointless addition to the story. That said, there's a couple things from the trailer that I don't totally like. So far, I'm genuinely curious what the theme of this movie is. Every solo film in the MCU so far has had a theme to it that helped the movie stand out from the rest. Ant-Man was a heist film, Thor was a fantasy, Captain America was a war film, and the second was espionage. So what is this film exactly? Is it another espionage? Because that's what it feels like. It definitely has a pretty strong aesthetic to it, between the darkness of the monologue and the color palette. What is going to make this movie stand out from the other 23? The dialogue also felt a little bit clunky. Is that a nitpick? It feels like I'm nitpicking. There were a total of 3 exchanges in the trailer I honestly don't like. Characters saying, "Okay sis," and "Hey little brother." There's no way anyone talks like that. That feels like the screenwriter saying, well, we gotta tell the audience they're siblings, so they're gonna have to say it. I have brothers, and I've never had to verbally acknowledge with them that we are, in fact, brothers. Also, according to IMDb, it's rumored that Robert Downey Jr. could show up in this movie as Tony Stark. Just let the dude go. He's already died after 11 years in the role. Don't make him keep coming back. Let's jump into some way too early predictions. First, I'm guessing that Florence Pugh, still don't know if I'm saying that right, or David Harbour is coming back in future movies. Black Widow is dead, spoilers, so this movie doesn't serve any purpose yet for Phase 4. The lead can't move the overall story, as this is a flashback movie. It'll dive more into her character, but for it to be the first film of Phase 4, some of these new characters have to come back to continue building the universe. Next, I'm going to predict that Taskmaster joins the Thunderbolts. I honestly haven't read too many comics in my time. I only know about General Ross and his villain team, the Thunderbolts, from the stupid clickbait articles that keep showing up on my timeline. Most Marvel villains are dead, but the Thunderbolts can be a fun plot line through Phase 4. General Ross's appearance in the trailer means that we could see Taskmaster team up with Baron Zemo and maybe even Abomination in a future movie. And my bold prediction is that Taskmaster will kill Red Guardian. Dude looks old as heck in this movie, and there's gotta be a lower chance of him sticking around the MCU. It also seems like he was a hero, but retired, which means that sacrificial death could work for his character. So I'd like to try and predict Rotten Tomatoes scores, since that's the critic platform everyone is most familiar with. I was gonna rate this about an 85, but then I went back and saw that Far From Home scored a 90, which was higher than I expected. I already think Black Widow looks better than Far From Home, so I'm gonna give it a nudge and predict a score of 92. This movie can't flop or be that bad in my opinion. This Marvel is yet to flop, and nothing shows that this movie could be the first one. The bigger concern for me is if it'll be able to stand out from the tidal wave of superhero movies from the last decade. At its release, we may enjoy it and think it's great, but in 5 to 10 years from now, will we all remember it that well? So that's Black Widow, releasing in just a few short months. What do you think about the trailer, and how do you feel about Marvel movies in Phase 4? Let me know in the comments, and outro.